And talk about verifiable consent. We talked about consent earlier, right? It's very important that you should have a consent, but there are cases where you need to make sure that you have verified the consent properly, and there are cases where you don't even need a consent. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you regularly see new content on data privacy. And as I said, let's talk about verification of consents and cases where you don't even need consent. A very brief one. What is a verifiable consent? We all know what is a consent, right? It's a explicit and informed permission to use personal information in a particular way. So the idea is that when you are collecting the personal information, you are informing why you are collecting it, what is the purpose of collecting it, and then you are also informing how is it going to be processed, how is it going to be stored. I mean, storage is one of the part of the overall processing definition, right? Collecting, storing, using, sharing with third parties, and deletion. Five some components of the word processing. So consent should be explicit. It should be well informed to the person whose personal information is given and should be logged as a proof that he has given me the permission to process. But there has to be a mechanism where you need to verify that the consent was properly given. There are special cases, for example, minors. There are special cases, for example, disabled, right? So it is mandatory when you have sensitive data, when you have biometric, finance, healthcare kind of a data. We call it sensitive when not having that data can impact an individual. So it's a sensitive data like biometrics, like finance, like health data. Minors data, as I said, data with people with physical disabilities. So the consent is not given by the person himself, consent is given by his attendant or legal guardian. So you need to be sure that the legal guardian's appointment is verified and the fact that the legal guardian is a major and not a minor. What is legitimate use? Legitimate use in an alternate to consent. Sorry, it's an alternate to consent. So these are the cases where you don't even need a consent. You have personal information, you can process it. You may or may not inform, but you can process it. It's an alternate or opposite to consent. When there is an emergency, and it happened with me very recently when even in medical actual operative things there was an emergency. So what was important? The only possible treatment, right? Consent on paper taken later on. So that exactly does not fall under legitimate use, and it's not exactly privacy. It's more about the medical consent. But the fact is that when you are helpless and in medical cases, or when you want that data to be utilized for some medical research, healthcare research, some legal aspects, traffic monitoring, if the surveillance team gets an idea that there could be a terrorist attack in an area, they can't sit down and take consent of the people walking around whether they are allowed to record them or not, right? So for all such things which are of public interest topics, you don't take a consent, and we call that as a legitimate use of personal information. As an organization, you should log the consent, prove that you have a lawful basis. Lawful basis by proving that you have a consent, it has been recorded very well. Lawful basis by making by ensuring that you are processing it under the legitimate use clause. And your documentation should be ready to be presented to the Data Protection Board of India. So whenever there are audits or compliance issues, you are ready with the answers. The overall big picture of it, consent helps you build trust with your data principals or your users. It helps you obtain very clear communication with these users, giving you very strict deadlines of each activity that needs to be done. And of course, consent needs to be accompanied either on the consent form or on privacy notice, the complete escalation matrix if a user is not happy by the way that data is being processed, or if he thinks it has not been processed the way he was promised. So and finally, of course, the biggest possible picture, you are taking consent and you are using or processing the data as per the consent taken, you build trust. So consent strengthens the trust as well. So that's about verifiable consent and legitimate use. I hope you like the content of the video. Please press the bell and the like icon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.